Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be sharing with you my entire current fragrance collection. It has been 4 years since I uploaded a fragrance collection video, and my good friend and I, Stephanie Marie, who is another incredible creator here on YouTube, she and I were talking and we both realized that it had been a really long time since we had done our fragrance collections, and we thought this would be the perfect time to do updated videos because it is holiday time and a lot of people are thinking about purchasing a fragrance as a gift or for themselves, putting it on their wish lists. So she and I were, as I said, chatting, and we thought, why don't we do this as a collaboration? Why not upload our updated collections at the same time, give each other a little shout out in case there are viewers out there that aren't familiar with Stephanie, even though because she is a fellow over 40 beauty content creator, I think we have a lot of mutual subscribers, but there's a chance that there are some of her viewers that don't know about me and some of my viewers that don't know about her. And I think that if you like my videos, you will also really love Stephanie and her videos. She's so down to earth. She's so informative. She is so thorough when she researches a product, when she reviews a product, when she raves about a product. You know you can trust her opinions. Her makeup tutorials are very achievable. She also does a nice combination of drugstore and high-end products, just like I do. So I'm going to link her channel down below in the description box, as well as her fragrance collection video. I'm not sure how many of ours are going to overlap. I know there's at least one that I recommended to her that she went out and purchased, and there might be one that she recommended to me that I went out and purchased. I'm not sure. So I guess you'll just have to watch both videos to find out if we have any favorites that are the same. Okay, before I get started, here's a little disclaimer. I am not that great at describing fragrances. I am not a perfume expert. I am not going to get too into the weeds regarding the notes. I have little note cards here that I made into lower thirds that I will put on the screen so you can see what the fragrance family is and what some of the main notes are. So hopefully that's helpful to you. And I wasn't sure how I was going to break down this video. Stephanie and I discussed it very briefly, but as far as I know, we never really came to a conclusion, so I'm not sure how she's breaking hers down. But I think I'm going to start with my daytime fragrances. The fragrances that just make me feel very fresh and clean and feminine. So I have got 1, 2, 3, 4 daytime fragrances that I love. I'm not saying you can't wear these fragrances at night, and I'm not saying the ones I'm going to show you for evening cannot be worn during the day. And I'm going to start with one that I talked about in 2017 that I still love. This is Turquoise from MAC. Anytime I wear this fragrance, I get so many compliments. And not only does it smell very good, but it's also at a pretty affordable price point. And the keynotes are lotus, Amalfi lemon, and cedar. You can definitely smell the lemon in this, but don't worry, you will not smell like lemon household cleaner. There's enough of that floral and cedar in there to balance out the lemon. It's just very, very clean and fresh. Turquoise was meant to inspire or evoke feelings of being by the water, and it truly does. Whenever I wear this, I feel like I'm going on vacation. Actually, now that I say that, the fragrance that I feel even more so like I'm either going on vacation or I'm on vacation is this one from Estee Lauder. This is the Bronze Goddess Azure. I picked this up at one of the cosmetic company store outlets that we have here in the United States. They're stores at outlet malls that carry past season makeup from brands like Estee Lauder and Clinique and MAC and Bobbi Brown and Smashbox. They even have Tom Ford at some locations. And I was at the outlet mall in, I think it was Palm Springs, California, and I picked up this Bronze Goddess Azure. This reminds me so much of Bobbi Brown's Beach fragrance, but I got it at a much better price. This does have that tanning lotion, coconutty sort of smell. I happen to love it. I know it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to smell like the beach, but if you do, I highly recommend this Bronze Goddess fragrance if you can find it. I'm definitely going to try and see if it's available online so I can link it. Or the next time you happen to stumble upon a cosmetics company store, look for the Bronze Goddess fragrances. I believe they come out with a little bit of a different scent every single summer as part of the Estee Lauder Bronze Goddess collection, but this one is definitely a winner. Another really clean and fresh fragrance that's a little bit more florally than the first two is this one from Way. It's called Rue Saint Honoré. This is the Eau de Parfum. This reminds me so much of a very popular fragrance from the mid 2000s, like around 2007 to 2008. There was a fragrance on the market called Kai, K-A-I, and it was a gardenia-based fragrance, and I think this smells a lot like it. This does have notes of gardenia in it, but it also has violet and musk. So that's something you'll notice throughout my video, is that a lot of these are florals, but they have a base note of something that's definitely more masculine, like a sandalwood or cedar or musk. I also really love the bottle. It's very clean and sleek and modern. And lastly, for my daytime fragrances, this one is definitely a little pricey. It's one of two fragrances you'll see on this video from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I'm not sure I pronounced that right. I'm sure I didn't. This one is called Aqua Vitae. My friend and fellow YouTube content creator, Michelle Wong, who has an incredible luxury channel, she lives here in Vegas and she and I hang out once in a while, and she turned me on to these fragrances. They definitely have a luxury price point, but I can't lie, once you start trying luxury fragrances, it's sort of an addiction. I now have several luxury fragrances, but I adore them. Don't get me wrong, I definitely own a lot of fragrances that aren't quite at this price point, but I'm starting to sort of weed out a lot of my old fragrances and just really focus on the ones that I truly feel like $1,000,000 in. This is actually a unisex fragrance. It has a lot of citrus notes in it, and that is definitely the first thing that hits your nose when you spray it. You are going to smell that orange blossom, lemon, Sicilian mandarin, but then this dries down to that base note of sandalwood. So it goes from citrusy to kind of masculine and a little bit more sexy, but it's not like, this is definitely not a fragrance that I would say is super sexy. It's just clean and fresh and perfect for daily wear. And I know some people wear this one every single day, day or night, but I reserve my Baccarat Rouge 540 for a date night or a special event. This particular fragrance has gotten a lot of hype on social media this past year. I don't know why it's suddenly gotten so big, but so many people are talking about it. And I think that's how I first was intrigued, was I was seeing so many people raving about it on Instagram and on TikTok, and I went to Neiman Marcus and I smelled it. I smelled a bunch of different fragrances and I fell in love with this one like so many other people have. You definitely don't put your nose to this, at least in my opinion, and think, oh, that smells like every other fragrance I smell at Ulta. No, no, no. Again, this is purely my opinion, but I think this is a very, well, it used to be a very unique scent. I know a lot of fragrances have now come out that are trying to emulate what this smells like. But when I said moments ago that I'm trying to only keep the fragrances that make me feel like $1,000,000, this one makes me feel like 5 million. I'm not gonna lie, I feel very sexy when I wear this. Another fragrance that I think is super, super sexy is this fragrance from Guerlain. It's called Angelique Noire. This particular bottle has been discontinued. I've had this for a while, but I did just notice on the Guerlain website that they have re-released it in a beautiful new bottle. I'll put a photo up on the screen for you. Is anyone else just amused sometimes by the descriptions of these fragrances? They're so, I don't know, just overly dramatic, I think. Maybe it's just me. but this says that it is a contrasting, bittersweet interpretation of Angelica. In the world of perfumery, Angelique Noire performs what is known as a spectacular choreography of opposites. All too often, weakly dosed due to its bitterness, this Angelica flower reveals itself after coming into contact with opulent vanilla. It's powerful and fascinating opposite. Accompanied by pink pepper and cedar, the contrast is irresistible. I'm just going to tell you that it smells pretty fantastic, and it is one of the longest wearing fragrances I own. This is another luxury priced fragrance, but because it does last so long on my skin, I feel like I'm going to have this bottle forever because a little bit goes such a long way. Now, when I talk about longevity with fragrances, and I'm sure you've all heard this before, your body chemistry has a lot to do with how long fragrance lasts on your body. One person might say, hey, I use this Armani Way and it lasts all day on me. And then someone else who uses it can say, well, it only lasted an hour on me. And as we all know, fragrances can smell a little bit different on every single person. So just because a fragrance smells amazing on your best friend doesn't mean it's going to smell amazing on you. Well, since I have My Way sitting right here, let's go to this next. I only discovered this fragrance this year. I was very drawn to the bottle. I think it's so beautiful, and I think Armani does a really, really great job with their fragrances. As a lot of you know, I worked for Armani Beauty a while ago. I sold the makeup and the fragrances, and I do love the Armani Privé fragrances. Those are the luxury end fragrances that Armani has. I don't own any of those. I was very, very tempted. I have been very, very tempted to purchase one, but I'm holding off for now. I think I've got enough luxury fragrances for the moment. If you are in the market for a luxury fragrance, I definitely think those are worth checking out. But if you would like a more accessible fragrance that you can just find at your local department store or Ulta or Sephora, definitely check out My Way. The reviews on this fragrance are incredible. I am not the only one that just adores this scent. Whenever I talk about it in videos, and I have quite a bit lately, inevitably I will receive several comments from people saying, My Way is my absolute favorite, I just love it. This contains orange blossom, tuberose, and vanilla. Those things just mix so beautifully into one soft and feminine fragrance. I do believe this is one you could wear either day or night. I think what I like about it, being that I don't love heavy floral fragrances, is that it does have that vanilla at the base. So when it dries down, you don't have a very heavy, cloying floral. You've got a little bit more sweetness in there. Another fragrance that I really like for day or night is Lancome Idol. Okay, I thought I was going to do daytime and nighttime fragrances. I started off wanting to categorize them this way, but I'm sort of all over the place now. I did start off with those daytime fragrances, and then I moved into some that I wear at night, and now I'm going back into day or night fragrances. Oops, hopefully you don't mind. This is another floral that has a little bit of vanilla in it to give it some sweetness. So once again, you can see the pattern here. If I'm going to do a floral, if I'm going to wear a floral, there has to be something else in it to balance it out so that I don't completely smell all florally. This is a very nice mix of rose and vanilla, and it has some jasmine in there. So what I would call this fragrance, as well as this fragrance and some of the others I'm going to get to, I would call these not my sexy fragrances, not my clean and crisp and fresh fragrances, but my pretty and ultra feminine fragrances. Especially this one from Parfums de Marly. This is called Delina. This is the brand's #1 seller, and it is a recent purchase of mine. I love it. I got a sample of it first because it is pricey. I actually got a sample of a couple of fragrances within the range, but I knew I only wanted to get one. So thankfully at Nordstrom, they gave me a bunch of little samples. They're so great about giving out fragrance samples. I think Sephora is too. I'm not sure about Ulta, but I always get my fragrance samples from Nordstrom because they're just the most generous with them, I think. So the sales associate gave me several samples to take home, and I wore them for a couple of days, and ultimately I decided that Delina was it. This fragrance is femininity wrapped up in a bottle. Oh wow, maybe I'm not so bad at describing fragrances. Delina has notes of Turkish rose, lily of the valley, lychee, rhubarb, nutmeg. It is such a unique formulation, and it also wears a really, really long time on my skin. That's really important to me, especially if I'm going to be spending money on a luxury priced fragrance. I need that to last. I do not want a fragrance that is going to just be on for a half an hour and then I feel like I have to refresh. In the month or so that I've had this fragrance, it's really become my top pick. And I get a lot of compliments when I wear it. Next up are my Chanel fragrances. I have got the Gabrielle Essence Eau de Parfum and the Coco Mademoiselle Eau de Toilette. A lot of people love Coco Mademoiselle. I was never a huge fan of it. To be honest with you, I've never been a huge fan of any Chanel fragrances. There's just something about them that I just don't love. And everybody's entitled to their thoughts and opinions and what they like as far as fragrance. It is such a personal thing. But I was actually given this bottle last year. I purchased, I think, some shoes at the Chanel boutique. And to my surprise, the sales associate gifted me a full-size bottle of this Coco Mademoiselle Eau de Toilette. And trust me, I confirmed with her that she meant to put this in my bag, and she did. It is really, really nice. I don't reach for it all that often, to be totally honest with you, but I do really like it. I think it might be the patchouli that's in Coco Mademoiselle that turns me off a little bit, but in the Eau de Toilette formulation, it's a little bit less concentrated, so I don't smell the patchouli as much. I definitely get more of the floral, the iris, the jasmine. It's very, very pretty, and it actually does wear quite a decent amount of time for an eau de toilette. And then the Gabrielle Essence. This was a mistake. I meant to order the original Gabrielle fragrance. I had smelled it in the store and I thought it was beautiful, but I accidentally, when I placed my online order, ordered the Essence. And this is a very pleasant surprise. First of all, the bottle is beautiful. And I love this size. It is perfect for travel. It's got jasmine, orange blossom, tuberose. And that is something I noticed when making these lower third cards that you're seeing with the notes on them. I obviously really like fragrances that contain jasmine. Oh, this just smells so good. It smells expensive. It smells like Chanel, but not Chanel No. 5. I'm not a fan of Chanel No. 5. Another newer purchase for me is the Tom Ford Lost Cherry. I bought this during the Sephora holiday savings event from a couple of weeks ago. I actually bought the travel set. They had a limited edition travel set with this 1.7 ounce bottle and then a travel atomizer. I had smelled this fragrance so many times in store, either at Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus or Sephora, and I could definitely smell the cherry. The cherry hits you immediately. And I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. I would think to myself, do I want to smell like cherries? I don't know about this, but I never sprayed it onto my skin. And I don't know what possessed me to finally spray it on my skin, but I did. And I walked around the mall wearing it. And after about an hour, I was really, really loving the way it smelled on me. And I also got several compliments. And then I started to see other influencers talking about how much they loved it and how they too would receive so many compliments on it. So I decided that since I had 20% off, now was the time to purchase it. So once those black cherry notes die down and you get to the middle and the base notes, you're left with something that only smells faintly of black cherry. You're left with a very warm and spicy and not overtly sexy scent. Some of these I would call over the top sexy. How many times can I say sexy in one video? I would say this one is subtly sexy. I would actually say the remaining 4 in my collection are all subtly sexy. This is Carolina Herrera's Good Girl Eau de Parfum. This one right here wins for best bottle. I actually bought this several years ago just because of the bottle. I was on a cruise ship and we had gotten off at a port that had one of those gift shops. A lot of these ports have duty-free shops so that the tourists can come in and buy fragrances and alcohol and that kind of thing. I saw this bottle sitting on the display and I hit my husband and I said, oh, look at that bottle. If that smells halfway decent, I'm buying it. I probably would have purchased it even if I didn't like the juice, as they call it, inside, but thankfully I did. And first I couldn't figure out how you spray this thing. It has a little indentation right here, and that's where you spritz it from. And it smells so good. A stiletto bottle and it smells good. It was a win-win. Once again, another fragrance I love that contains jasmine. Next up, Chloe Nomad. This one to me smells different than any of the others in my collection. And that's probably because it has different notes than any of the others in my collection. This one has oak moss and freesia, and I honestly do not know what Mirabelle liqueur is or what it's supposed to smell like. But to me, it smells like sitting by the fireplace with some hot chocolate. This to me is a year-round fragrance. It can be a year-round fragrance, but something about it says winter to me. It's just warm and cozy and gives you all the good feels. And my final two are both ones that I also picked up on cruises. Am I the only one? I know I'm not the only one who, whenever I go into a duty-free shop, somehow ends up with a new perfume. I purchased Dahlia Devin on the cruise ship because I had forgotten my perfume. My husband, kids, and I went on a cruise in December of 2019, right before COVID began, and obviously not knowing what would happen a few months later. But we had gone on a fun holiday family cruise. I forgot my perfume. I went into the duty-free shop on board, smelled way too many perfumes, and ultimately decided on Dahlia Devin. Not only is the bottle visually stunning, I think, but it brings together all of my favorite notes that I've mentioned these other fragrances contain. Now you might be thinking, Risa, that sounds like a really heavy fragrance with all of those notes, but it's actually not heavy at all. It's really a great balance between strong, sexy, and feminine. It's all of those things wrapped up into one. I believe this next fragrance, Jimmy Choo Illicit, has been discontinued. But I did notice when I looked online that it is still available. I talked about this fragrance in my perfume collection video from 2017. It was my #1 nighttime fragrance before I got, some of these others. This contains ginger, orange, rose, jasmine once again. I'm starting to think that if a fragrance doesn't have jasmine in it, I probably won't like it. I honestly don't know why it's being discontinued. Maybe they brought out something similar that's even better that I just haven't smelled yet, because I really do feel like I have a nice, comprehensive collection of fragrances that hits every scenario, every event that I might attend, every feeling I might have. I think with these 15 fragrances, I've got it covered. So I haven't really had a reason, but now I kind of want to see. Now that I know this is being discontinued, I do want to see what other Jimmy Choo fragrances I might be intrigued by. I thought this was it. I thought these 15 were the only ones I had, but I forgot. I have my Jo Malone fragrance in the other room. Actually, I miscounted. I've spoken about 16 fragrances, and the Jo Malone is number 17. So I just stepped out of the room to go grab this from my bathroom, and I came back in the room after having sprayed a couple of these perfumes. And wow, does it smell good in here. So this is my Jo Malone Peony and Blush Suede. So this is going to bring us back full circle to those daytime fragrances that I started with. This is another clean, fresh, beautiful fragrance for day. I hate to say it, but it does not last as long as some of these others, at least on my skin, but I can't stop wearing it. I just love how clean and fresh this fragrance is. And if you layer it with a Jo Malone body cream or body lotion, you will get a lot more longevity from it. I find that the Jo Malone body creams are pretty amazing on their own. Really don't even need to spray one of their colognes once you've used a body cream. But if you go to a Jo Malone counter or store, they will recommend layering. And the reason why I keep this one in my bathroom is just because it does bring up feelings of cleanliness, and it's just so sleek and pretty and luxurious. One of the nice things about these Jo Malone colognes is that you can sort of go crazy spraying them on your body and just enjoy taking in the fresh scent of whichever one you've chosen, whichever one has appealed to you, but you won't be overpowering. It will definitely fade, and you won't be the person walking into the room where people turn and look at you not in a good way. All right, I really hope you all enjoyed seeing what fragrances I currently have in my collection. All of these fragrances will be listed and linked down below in the description box. Don't forget to check out Stephanie's collection video as well as other videos on her channel. I told you at the beginning and I'll tell you again, I think you're going to love her. If you did love this video or even like it a little bit, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And if you're new here, welcome. I should have said this at the beginning. If you enjoyed this video, or maybe you want to watch a few more and then decide, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I do post new content at least 2 to 3 times per week. You can also find more content from me on Instagram and on TikTok. The username is the same. It's Risa Does Makeup. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.